Feldway reached the Celestial Palace as Michael returned, and in that single moment, he understood that something impossible had already happened. Someone had slipped past a power that never failed. "You sure got beaten down, didn't you?" Michael received the remark with a faint curve of acknowledgement, his expression composed, his tone measured, almost conversational. "Yeah, we ran into some unexpected events." He explained the failure of Castle Guard, the anomaly that disrupted what should have been an absolute ability. And as Michael spoke, Feldway listened with the kind of attention that dissected meaning rather than emotion. A skill that governed allegiance had faltered, and that alone shifted the shape of the battlefield. "There's only one of that skill, at the core," Michael said with a faint, knowing amusement. "Only the mystics swear their allegiance to me." Feldway absorbed this without visible reaction, yet the implication settled deeply. Systems built on certainty revealed fractures when exposed to unfamiliar variables. In that moment, the war gained a new dimension, one that relied less on overwhelming force and more on the fragile architecture of belief. Their exchange continued with an unsettling normalcy, as if failure, death, and betrayal belonged to routine discussion. When Michael mentioned Obella's escape, his tone remained steady, almost detached, though he acknowledged the loss of her forces as a valuable asset. Feldway responded with equal indifference, his voice carrying neither regret nor concern. Yes, Obella commanded an excellent force. Truly, a regrettable loss. The words sounded appropriate, yet they held no weight. He valued loyalty only when it served structure, and Obella's loyalty had never belonged to him. In Feldway's mind, utility defined worth, and once that utility vanished, so did relevance. This cold precision had long ago replaced whatever fragments of humanity he once carried, leaving behind something far more efficient and far less relatable. That efficiency now demanded order. As the audience chamber filled, the atmosphere settled into a rigid stillness, the kind that precedes decisive action. Feldway stood at the center of it, his presence quiet yet absolute, while Michael observed in silence, allowing the structure to form around him. "I think our forces need to implement a chain of command," Michael proposed. Feldway inclined his head, already anticipating the necessity. Chaos served no purpose at this stage. The war ahead required clarity, hierarchy, and the elimination of ambiguity. Then let us decide that before we begin our full invasion. The meeting unfolded with a methodical precision that reflected Feldway's mindset. Information was presented, losses were acknowledged, and yet the absence of emotional resonance remained striking. When Orlia's death was announced, Dino offered a brief prayer, his gesture standing alone in a room that had long abandoned such sentiments. The rest watched with distant eyes, their focus anchored solely on what came next. And what came next was power. Feldway structured the hierarchy with ruthless simplicity. Strength dictated rank. No elaborate strategy clouded his judgment. No political nuance softened his decisions. In his view, overwhelming force resolved complexities far more effectively than intricate planning. First, I will be establishing a new post called the Three Stellar Leaders. The title carried symbolic weight, invoking the legacy of Veldanava, yet its true purpose lay in consolidating power into a select few. Zerario, Jahil, and an unnamed third would stand at the pinnacle beneath him, their roles defined by their capacity to dominate the battlefield. The room stirred when Vega protested, his ambition flaring with reckless intensity. He demanded recognition, his voice edged with frustration, and for a brief moment, tension coiled tightly around the chamber. Feldway responded with a gaze that erased all illusion of equality. Silence. My decisions are final. Authority manifested fully in that instant, heavy and undeniable. Vega felt it, his instincts screaming louder than his pride, forcing him into submission. His apology came quickly, driven by survival rather than understanding. And yet, Feldway rewarded him. That's why I'm naming you leader of the 7 heavenly generals. The shift felt deliberate, calculated to maintain control while feeding ambition. Vega's frustration dissolved into satisfaction, proving once again that Feldway understood leverage better than loyalty. Then came the arrival that altered the atmosphere entirely. Fen entered without ceremony, his presence overwhelming in its raw intensity. Power radiated from him with a density that distorted the air itself, and every individual in the room recognized the magnitude of what stood before them. Dino reacted first, his composure fracturing under shock. You took off his Gleipnir chaos bonds? What are you thinking, Feldway? The question carried genuine alarm, because Fen represented something far beyond a simple ally. He embodied destruction, a force once sealed by Veldanava himself. Releasing him felt less like strategy and more like inviting catastrophe. Feldway dismissed the concern with quiet confidence. Fen and I are friends. The simplicity of that statement held a deeper truth. Their connection had formed in isolation, forged through shared solitude and mutual understanding. Where others saw danger, Feldway saw potential aligned with purpose. Fen himself seemed delighted by the tension he created. He greeted Jahil with casual dominance, his arm draped over him as though claiming ownership, his words laced with mocking amusement. "You're more than qualified to be my lackey." The insult struck deeply, yet Jahil remained still, trapped between pride and the crushing weight of Fen's aura. Power dictated silence, and in that silence, hierarchy solidified further. Even Zarario, a warrior defined by strength, chose restraint. He recognized the cost of conflict at this scale, understanding that a clash between them would devastate more than just their enemies. So the structure held. With roles assigned and tensions contained, the focus shifted to strategy. The miniature world projected before them became the stage upon which their plans unfolded, each point of light representing a target, a decision, a consequence waiting to manifest. Feldway guided the discussion with precise intent, outlining their approach with clarity that left little room for doubt. This Skyspire Tower attack is really just a decoy. The revelation reframed everything. What appeared as a primary objective revealed itself as a distraction, a calculated move designed to draw attention away from their true goal. Dino leaned forward, curiosity replacing his earlier indifference. "So who are we really striking?" Feldway's answer came through a question, one that exposed the core of their mission. "What is our objective?" The room fell silent, each individual processing the implication. Dino offered a vague response, masking his uncertainty with confidence, and Feldway accepted it as confirmation. "We have to get rid of this wild card, Masayuki." The name carried weight, representing unpredictability within a system that thrived on control. Masayuki's potential role as a vessel for Ludora introduced variables that Feldway refused to leave unchecked. "We'll gradually sap away at their capacity to fight," he explained, his voice steady with conviction. "And once we take away enough, he'll have no choice but to come out." The strategy unfolded with chilling logic. Isolation, pressure, inevitability. Each step designed to corner their enemy without granting them the advantage of preparation. Belzard's analysis pinpointed Masayuki's location, and with that knowledge, assignments followed swiftly. Vega accepted his role with enthusiasm, unaware of the deeper layers within Feldway's plan. Zarario prepared to mobilize the army, his compliance masking lingering dissatisfaction. Jahil received his orders last, positioned as a mobile force, a contingency shaped by necessity rather than trust. He accepted it with measured ambition, already calculating how to turn the situation to his advantage. Then, Michael spoke. His voice carried authority that surpassed even Feldway's, not through volume or intensity, but through certainty. He outlined the broader vision, the strategy that extended beyond immediate battles into the gradual dismantling of their enemies' foundations. Destroying their bases, one by one, gradually takes apart their power to fight. The simplicity of the concept belied its effectiveness. War reduced to attrition, to inevitability, to a slow tightening that left no room for escape. Rimuru's labyrinth emerged as the silent flaw in their design, a domain where death lost permanence and attrition held no meaning. Feldway understood that direct assault would only empower the enemy, so he reshaped the strategy with cold precision. They would never invade the labyrinth, they would render it irrelevant. By igniting wars across Milim's territory and Inglesia, they would force Rimuru to abandon his sanctuary. Protection would become his weakness. Once drawn out into open conflict, stripped of layered defenses, Rimuru would face the war on their terms, where even resilience could finally be broken. And yet, within that certainty, doubt lingered. Dino voiced it, his concern centered on Milim, on the implications of targeting the daughter of Veldanava. His question carried a weight that challenged the very foundation of their mission. Michael answered without hesitation. "Is that a problem?" Feldway reinforced it with quiet conviction. "We are no different from her in terms of being created by that dragon." Their loyalty remained absolute, yet it focused solely on Beldanava himself, stripped of any attachment to his legacy beyond that singular figure. In their perspective, purpose justified action, regardless of consequence. Michael concluded with a belief that bordered on faith. If his beloved daughter is in danger, he is bound to come to her aid. Thus, we are doing the exact right thing here. The logic felt complete to them, a perfect alignment of intention and outcome. Yet beneath that certainty, something else stirred, a fracture, subtle yet undeniable. Dino felt it most clearly. He understood the distortion of belief, the way interpretation reshaped truth into something unrecognizable. He had seen it in humanity, in faith, in every system that claimed absolute understanding. And now he saw it here. The realization settled heavily within him, though he kept it hidden behind a mask of compliance. Around him, the war took shape, its structure solid, its direction clear, its consequences inevitable.